What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital, coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is January 3rd, 2021. Please go ahead and click that like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. That way you don't miss any of my future content. Today is January 3rd, 2022. It was the first trading day of the brand new year. Hope everyone had an awesome trading day. Today we're going to talk about the price action in the headline indices. We're going to go under the hood and we'll check out our sectors and style factors. We'll also talk about some of the things that I traded for today. But before we get into all that, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters. Last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account to any one of my trades. All right, let's dive in. So we have our box scores right here in front of us. And today was a really interesting day. We had the S&P 500 up 0.58%. We had the NASDAQ up 0.96%. Small caps were our big winner for today, up 1.29%. Dow Jones up 0.65%. And we had the ARK Innovation ETF up 2.54%. Great performance for ARK. So could this be a little bit of like a January effect going on? Could certainly be the case. Volatility ended up closing down in all of these indices, which is great. And we ended up having a great closing range on pretty much all of these indices. And at varying points during the day, it didn't look like that was going to be the case. In the morning, there was a sell-off where the indices all pretty much went red. Then they bounced back and a lot of chop throughout the day. And then we finally got that river card into the close. Breadth was positive in every single one of these indices. But we did only have 50% advancers in the SPY and only 50% in the Qs. And for most of the day, we had less than 50%. So yeah, it was a tale of two tapes. Half the stocks in the S&P 500 were down, half were up. But you can see some stellar performances here on the first new day of the year, likely due to some fresh mandates or somebody that was sitting on the sidelines that can now be deployed. But we had Apple up 2.5%. We had Tesla, our big winner for the day. After they announced some good deliveries figures, Tesla finished up 13.53%. Amazon was up 2.21%. And then you can see here, we also had some weakness. Healthcare was pretty weak. Industrials, consumer defensives. It seems like a lot of these areas where investors were piling into at the end of the year for some safety, a lot of those, saw some selling pressure today. And if we dive into our sectors, you can see that, pretty much everything at the top of our momentum list sold off. So consumer staples were down a smidge, real estate, utilities, and then a lot of these things towards the bottom of the momentum list were actually positive. So we had blockchain assets positive, the SPAC ETF, Chinese internets were still red. A lot of these laggards were down. Big winners for today, you can see consumer discretionary was up 2.87%. Energy was up pretty big, 3.1%. Biotech as well. So a lot of renewed strength coming into the market. And then looking at our style factors, we had defensives were down 0.89%. So that definitely speaks to maybe some money being taken out of those defensives. Now that it's a brand new year, clean new slate, everyone has a brand new performance track record. Some of that money came out of defensives. Looks like it went into growth, went into high beta, went into cyclicals. That's pretty risk on for the very beginning of the year. And then looking at our refreshed seasonality, we are at the very beginning of the line again, team. So here we are. It is beginning of January, and the seasonality is typically pretty good in the first week or two of the new year. So let's take a look at the price action for today. S&P 500. I would say this is a pretty good candle. We had some weakness on Friday, very small though. We pulled back to the 5-day EMA. That's why on Friday I was saying, it's pretty tough to divine any crazy meaning from the day's action. It was literally the last day of the year. But now on the first day, we're back above that 5-day EMA. Market's looking pretty good. We've been range bound for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And now we're moving up to the upper end of that range. So it is looking like the market as of right now is going to resolve to the upside. We had some decent volume on here. So look at the last week of trading, how low the volume was. And now we had that pick up today. Zoom into our hourly chart, and we'll see that right now the S&P 500 still trading inside of the weekly value area, but we're above the weekly point of control. So yeah, still in that weekly value area. We are making our way through. Let's check out some of these other indices. Trend model still looking good at a +3. NASDAQ looked good today. You can see a nice green candle for the NASDAQ. We basically bullish engulfed the prior candle, and then we even closed above the open from 2 sessions ago. So yeah, bullish engulfing almost 2 full candles. So yeah, not bad. Let's take a look at the Russell. This is our big winner for today. And the Russell finally closed above the 200-day moving average. And now that we have our brand new monthly value area, the Russell is now trading above value. So we have this level up here, this VPOC at 2402. That's a little bit far away. Today we ran into some resistance at this 50-day simple moving average. So I think that's basically the next hurdle the Russell would have to clear. You can see nice volume on this candle in the Russell as well. And that might be some January effect action going on where people are saying, hey, first day of the year, let's deploy a little bit of cash in those small caps. Dow Jones, nice day, also trading above value and above those key moving averages. So yeah, to begin the year, everything looks good. I would say for day one, we're moving along this happy path. Let's take a look at, Tesla was the big winner for today. Finished up 13.5%, and now it's trading very close to the prior highs. So check this out. Very close here. Looking good. So I'll have to see, if this one can get the breakout to all-time highs. Definitely going to keep this on my watch list for tomorrow to see if there's some continued strength. Be a nice breakaway gap and really never looked back throughout the session. Now let's take a look at some of my trades for today. Let's pull these up. And what was interesting, let me actually pull this up as well. So one thing that I noticed was, we had some nice pin action today, which is good. Indices up, the whole 9 yards. But I noticed that there were some areas of the market that were still weak. So like for instance, this stock MongoDB, looked pretty good at varying points of last week. And this one really just, fell off a cliff, down 7, almost 8%. We had Datadog also fall off a cliff. Great company, but this one down over 8%. And a bunch more, these high growth, high valuation names all really got taken to the slaughterhouse today. So what it shows me, this one was down 4%. It shows me that, hey, even though, today we had a nice bullish day of action, those stocks that have high valuations, they're still getting punished. Like the stock Sentinel-1. I'm actually in DigitalOcean. That one got punished pretty hard today, even though it doesn't really have a high valuation. But yeah, this entire group, this is a cloud stock as well. But yeah, this entire group was really the big laggard for today. So I'm curious to see if some of those names start to catch a bid, or are these just going to be trailing the entire year? We'll have to see. I think at some point investors will come in and say, hey, these are good prices, but clearly we haven't reached those levels yet. All right, let's take a look here. I'm going to pull up some of my trades for today. Actually did a bunch of trading today, and really I just want to make sure for the beginning of the year that my portfolio is in a lot of these higher momentum names, because I am a momentum trader. I never want to get stuck in something or anchor on my prior views on it. So one trade that I took pretty much right off the open was Ford, in line with all the strength that we were seeing in the EV space. This could have just as easily have been Tesla or one of the other stocks. I had a nice trading plan for Ford, and Ford actually just broke out to new highs. So this stock's not nearly as volatile as Tesla, but it's moving up pretty nicely, and now we have blue skies ahead. Let's pull up that weekly. Yeah, looking good here. A nice breakout. Let's check out So I got long forward at about 9:40, 10 minutes into the session. I closed out my ETHE for 33.41. I had paid 34.11. So closed out for about a 2% loss. I'm still holding on to my Ethereum, my actual Ethereum. But in terms of for my trading account, and what's really going to help me out in 2022, I can objectively look at this and say, hey, this is where I want my money to be. And lo and behold, this ended up sinking throughout the session. Let's see how these cryptos actually did. Pretty much as soon as they catch some momentum again, glad to jump back into my trading account. I just want to make sure I'm being objective. Because day one of the brand new year, you just want to make sure you're following your process. And these cryptos ended up closing a little bit weak. So it's tough to say, the Fed's going to be tightening monetary policy. Do these cryptos have at least one leg lower? While that happens, could certainly be the case. So we have those. Let's take a look at what else was here. I closed out my Unity. This was a roll from a profitable options trade. I got long some common stock, stopped out of the common stock. Unity is another one of these names that I really like for the long term, but it just wasn't showing any relative strength. Chart looks kind of broken. Don't want to stay in that. And then a couple long trades I did. I got long some Taiwan Semiconductor for 128.40. I really like this chart. This one, I took on a decent sized position here, but I might actually make it a little bit bigger. So let's see. Yeah, you can see very nice breakout from this monthly value where we have really nice volume on the move too. So we broke out of the monthly value area, and then when we go to this weekly chart, we also broke out of the yearly value area. By and large, we spent the entirety of 2021 just consolidating in Taiwan Semi. Look how fast it moved up in 2020. So now it finally broke out. Boom, here we are on the first day of the year. Really like this setup. See, we have, just a very long base. And then another one I took for a trade, ended up stopping out on the same day though. This is just, kind of par for the course. This happens every once in a while. Nucor had a nice breakout from value, saw some call buyers getting involved. This one really just turned around. The breakout failed. I stopped out and this thing just kept moving even lower. So yeah, that one attempted to get a position trade on, and this one, just a bit of a failed move here. Let's take a look. Options trades, did a bunch today. So I got along some financials calls for March. XLF. And the reason why I did this was because we broke above the 50-day, broke above this monthly value, very nice breakout. And then also we had treasuries just super weak today. So I figured, hey, if rates rise, the financials could be a great place to be. Look how weak of a candle this is. Pretty tough action for treasuries. And if we look at the weekly chart, you'll see, we're pretty much flirting with a breakdown right here. See, I got long the financials with some calls. I took a short-term swing trade in Microsoft. And this one, weekly chart still looks great. But look at the daily chart. So Microsoft pulled back. One of our members was asking about this one earlier. This actually spurred the trade idea. And I noticed all these software infrastructure stocks were down today. And, Microsoft was getting taken down with that group. Ended up getting a close above support, though. So Microsoft looks pretty good. And curious to see if this can get the breakout from this monthly value we're in the days to come. So I'm going to mark this off. I'm actually going to set an alert here. What I liked about this trade was that when I took it right at these key moving averages, the invalidation point for the trade was very close to my entry. So by the end of the session, I would have known, if this was going to work or not. So far, looking good. And then what else here? I took off some SoFi puts. These are puts that I sold for the February expiration. And these I collected $1.16. They were marking at like a 64% winner. So I took these puts off. And the thing is, when you sell puts, the covered puts, it does eat up some of your buying power because you may end up buying the stock as a result of your short puts. So yeah, I figured, hey, if I collected 64% of the value of these puts, I've only been holding on to them for 2 weeks. It doesn't really make sense for me to hold on to them for another 2 months to pick up that remaining 36%. So yeah, I took those off, but let's see what SoFi ended up doing today. Yeah, SoFi not looking the best here. Downtrend, still inside value. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. When I sold these puts, the implied volatility was so high that just the fact that this one has gone sideways has paid me a lot on those puts. See, I did that one. And then I did take some S&P 500 March puts. And this is a small trade for me. But just in case this bond selling, just in some way negatively impacts the market. I have a bunch of longs on the books. So I figured let me get some sort of hedge on there. Yeah, so those are my trades for today. Let's take a quick look at the options order flow. And I must say, I got a lot of stocks that I'm watching for tomorrow. So MP, this one looks pretty great as well. Definitely going to be watching tomorrow for the wick play. Check this out. This is the daily chart. Daily chart shaping up, right? And then the weekly chart also looks great for a breakout right here. So yeah, definitely going to be watching MP. Apple looked great today, up 2.5%. Nice breakout from value. So we are seeing a lot of breakouts, a lot of good action here. And let's pull up our options order flow. Look at today's combined flows. So we have Tesla. Oh my gosh, how much call flow is there going to be for Tesla today? I saw a bunch. Yeah, look at that. 5 billion. Do I hear 6? Do I hear? Oh, okay. 6 billion. That's a lot compared to the recent average. Cisco, Amazon. IWM. Curious to see what Cisco looks like. Oh wow, yeah. Cisco Systems, kind of my parabolic. And this is the thing, a lot of these more defensive stocks really just took off. So yeah, Cisco not really in an actionable spot for me. Let's take a look if we go to our Tradescape. Let me take off some of these filters. There we go. So we got Cisco, bunch of call flow coming in for Cisco. Let's check out what we're seeing for Apple, and then I see AMD there as well. Bunch of calls, the 182.5 strike, 180 strike, 130s, 125s, 180s. So yeah, that 180 strike was very popular for Apple. Yeah, right now we're at 182.01. Let's take a look at AMD. That one looked pretty good as well. Yeah, AMD chart is definitely shaping up here. We're putting in kind of like a big consolidation pattern in this name. And AMD, this stock can really consolidate when it wants to. So look at this. We consolidated over here, for what looks like almost a year. Consolidated here for a couple months. So yeah, big consolidations. Then historically, the stock's had some big moves after those consolidations. So just got to be patient. Let's take a look at one more. Microsoft, since I'm long Microsoft. Nice. So people are buying calls into the dip on Microsoft. The 340s, the 520s. Geez, for 2024. They're buying 520 calls on Microsoft. Yeah, it's only a 334. Not bad. So yeah, today for me, first day of the year. Beginning of a trading year is always good to just establish good habits. Make sure you're following all of your trading rules and just focusing on process. If you focus on process, the results are going to come. So that being said, that about does it for the first recap video of 2022. Wishing you all an awesome trading year. So let's do it this year, team.